pleasure to have this many in the community turn out to see what the county commission is up to. So thank you for your interest. We'll have Mr. Harrelson do the egress plan.
Thank you, Ms. Wood. On behalf of the Emergency Management Office, we welcome all of our guests tonight. Our emergency plan is, in case we was to have a fire drill tonight, everyone will exit out these doors, down the steps. Everyone is to go to the back parking lot. The fire department does not want anybody in the front because that's where their fire trucks will be and all the manpower. They want everybody to go to the back parking lot. Also, in case we have a heart attack or something, in case you don't know, Carter County does have 911. We'll call 911. And then we have an AED on the first floor beside of the elevator down there, so we can grab that in case somebody does have a heart attack tonight. Our bathrooms are handicap compliant, and they are at the end of this hallway to the left, the male and the female, and handicap compliant, and that's our building.
We'll move on to the roll call. I'd like to let the commission know that Commissioner James and Commissioner Acuff are traveling, and of course Commissioner Lyons is still out with his health.
I put new batteries in them at the start, before the meeting started.
You, Charlie?
Yeah.
Here's. Dude, I don't know. I don't think it's some group of people. Does that mean I can leave? Yeah, you're dismissed. Liquid seats. Jared?
Did you take the plastic cover off it?
It's, it was the battery. I just bought you with, what do you charge for that? 50 bucks. It's on my account.
All commissioners are present with 3 absent. Moving on to approval of the agenda, I'd like to add the Sequoia Group down under the notaries and bonds for a presentation.
Motion to approve is amended. Second.
Motion by Mike Hill, Commissioner Hill, second Commissioner Frazier. Any discussion? Under notaries and bonds.
Number 9.
Yeah, number 9. Madam Clerk. I'll ask Commissioner Willie Campbell to do the prayer, and please remain standing for Commissioner Brad Johnson's pledge of allegiance.
Dear Heavenly Father, God, Lord, to bow our heads and approach the throne of grace for the vote today, Lord. Thank you for another day, Lord. And Lord, giving us good health to our feet before, Lord, to take another breath. Lord, we thank you tonight, Lord, for your love, mercy, and grace that you have upon each one of us. And God, tonight we do pray for our country, Lord. Leaders, Lord, we pray for our president, Senate and Congress, Lord, on down through our government, our local offices, God, we pray, Lord, that your blessings be upon each one of them. Lord, tonight we do pray for Brother Linus, God, we pray, God, that you touch him, have your anointing upon him. God, we do pray, Lord, for Ms. Whippy tonight as she brings the president of the meeting. God, we pray, Lord, that you touch her. Lord, tonight we do pray, God, for her health. We pray and thank you for every prayer that you've answered, Lord, every prayer that you're going to answer. God, tonight, most of all, we thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ, to give his life for each and every one of us. That one day, knowing our names are going to be written down in the Lamb's Book of Life. God, tonight we pray for those that are lost and undone, Lord, they'll come to you before it's everlasting too late. God, as we go into this meeting, we pray, Lord, that you have the will and way. God, that we'll be in one mind, one accord, God. Lord, we ask these things in thy name. Amen.
Amen. Victory, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to recognize our appointed and elected officials. If you please stand. Moving on to the minutes of last month's meeting, I would like to say that the clerk's office has been extremely busy due to their office opening back up. They have been nonstop for the past 3 weeks, so the minutes were just laid on your table this evening. So if you want to wait to approve.
I think we lay them aside till next month after we've had time to adjust it properly.
Second.
Second. Motion by Commissioner McKeel to set aside, second by Commissioner Garland. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll. Motion approved. I don't want to say thank you to the clerk's office. I know you guys have worked diligently hard over there. Next is approval of notaries and bonds. Madam Clerk, would you take those?
Oliver, Nelson Loftus, Stephanie Pierce, Amy Carroll Green, Diamond Stashak, Margaret Taylor, Diane Hughes, Heather Burgess, Margaret M. Little, Mary Ann Stout, Linda K. Bowers, Tom M. Bowers, Jennifer Nash, Abigail Gilmore, Jennifer Earl, and Dustin Baker, 7th District Constable Bond.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion, Commissioner Hill, second. Wait, just a second.
Mr. Frazier, that was probably.
Commissioner Frazier, any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll. Motion approved. Next, we'll have Sequoia Group.
Good evening. I'm Kelly here with Sequoia Group, and as many of y'all know, so I've been asked to keep this very short and sweet tonight because I know you all are exhausted. And so I'll just try to get through this presentation. Everybody's got a copy of it, so that way if you have any questions or anything like that, please don't hesitate. I've said that several times in meetings at different times, but rarely do we hear from the commissioners when things are going on. Ginger Holton reached out to us after the last financial management meeting, and I applaud her for that, asking for information and other things. So anytime anybody has any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. So before the 3 plans were implemented back in 2018-2019, the total premium that Blue Cross charged was $2,085,380. The county portion of that was approximately $1.8 million. The 2019 original renewal, okay, that you all received from Blue Cross was a 14.4% increase, so that was $2.3 million. The county portion of that, paying 90% of that plan, would have been $2,098,000. Okay, after we took over the broker record, marketed and did everything, we got the same plan, Plan 1, okay, without the other 2 plans, down a 10% decrease to 1.8 premium to Blue Cross, and the county portion of that was approximately 1.6. But that still did not solve the issue, one of the main issues, which was families could not afford the medical insurance, okay? So, next. Right here on the top, that was where you guys were before we became the broker of record, 2018-2019. You had 215 employee only, 2 employee spouse plans, that's it, 1 employee child and 1 family. That's all that was enrolled in the county at that time. The total monthly premium to Blue Cross was $775 for the individual plan, $1,628 for employee spouse, $1,418 for employee child, and $2,352 a month for family coverage. So if you look, ER monthly, that's what the county was contributing to the medical plan, okay? So if you back into that, the yellow column, that shows what the employees had to pay per paycheck for health insurance, okay? None of the employees could afford to carry their children or their families on the plan, all right? So the revised renewal, after we got the 10% decrease, that's what the bottom looks like, all right? And then that brought down. But like I said, even with the decrease, spouse, children, or family coverage is completely unaffordable. All right, next. So what we did is we put in 3 plans, okay? So you've got Plan 1, Plan 2, and Plan 3. So it was more affordable to families. If you look to the far left, you've got your enrollment by plan. So you had 83 people pick up Plan 3. 15 employee spouse, 14 employee children, 1 family. In the middle plan, you had 9 people pick that one up and 1 family. You have your premiums to Blue Cross Blue Shield, then you have what the county was paying, and then what the employees pay per paycheck, okay? So, if you'll note, the total premium worked out to 1.6, and the county was paying 1.4. That money goes to Blue Cross Blue Shield. Okay? Now, with the savings down on the bottom tier, Plan 3, that is where the HSA money came from to fund the HSA. See where it says on Plan 3, $339 to Blue Cross, and the county's supposed to pay $559 a premium? All right? So, the numbers, total Blue Cross Blue Shield premium was $2,085,000 back in 2018 before us, and then it went to 1.6 even after an enrollment increase in your all's medical of almost 11%. Last year when we did enrollment, y'all had 219 people on the plan, 243 picked it up. Okay, so that was a significant increase in people electing coverage. There's a total county spend. So the total county spend in 2018 was $1.8 million. In this past year, with the full HSA and the full medical premium to Blue Cross, was $1.82. So it's still below what the county spend was in 2018. There are 28 families that are in what we call the family plan of Plan 3. The employee spouse, the employee children, and the family. Out of those 28 families, they received $3,100 into their HSA, which was supposed to be from the difference in the employee-only tier. So theoretically, the employee-only tier should have been the only people who got that difference at $259. Are y'all following me? Okay. But we found out that everybody, we'd given it to everybody, and we communicated it that way at open enrollment. All right? 22, there were only 22 of those that actually received it because 2 people were not eligible for the HSA because one was at the Highway Department enrolled in Medicare and one was at the Sheriff's Office enrolled in TRICARE. If you're enrolled in TRICARE or Medicare, IRS guidelines, it makes you ineligible to receive HSA money, okay? So it was actually 28 families out of the 30. 22 grandfathered employees moved from Plan 1 to Plan 2 and 3. So you all had actually budgeted $665 for those employees because they were grandfathered, but because they moved to Plan 2 and Plan 3, that equaled an additional $17,000 in savings. Are you guys following me? Because grandfathered employees, you all pay 100% of employee-only premium, which would be the $665. Okay? Non-employees in Plan 2, if you notice Plan 2, you all aren't paying the full $599 to Blue Cross because Blue Cross is only billing $484. Are y'all following? Everybody good on the numbers? Okay. So, you'll go to the next one. The next page shows the 3 plans that are available to the employees, Plan 1, Plan 2, and Plan 3. It shows the actual plan to Blue Cross Blue Shield, what the copays are, and then what the cost is to Blue Cross. Just as a reminder, Plan 3 is the medical plan from Blue Cross. This plan did not change this year. Okay, so I think there's been some miscommunication. The medical plan itself did not change whatsoever. What changed was trying to correct the families that received the $3,100 in error last year instead of just the employees only, which were 28 out of the total 200 and some enrolled. Okay? Are y'all with me? Kind of? I'm moving kind of fast. All right. So this year, going into the renewal, there were the actual renewal from Blue Cross Blue Shield this year was 15.93% increase. So that would have been an increase of $256,000. The portion of that to the county would have been $99,000. All right. We were able to secure a rate hold with Blue Cross Blue Shield. The reason why was our financial dashboard. We do a financial dashboard where we're projecting the renewals, keeping up with the claims, tracking the high claimants and everything month to month. So our dashboard was projecting, no, they should only have a 2.1% increase, and if you remove the high claimants, a 5.1% decrease. The rate hold offer that we were able to get from Blue Cross Blue Shield is if we did not send it out to market. If we sent it out to market, then we would have started having to shop it at a 15.9% increase, which would have possibly gotten us to a rate hold in the end, but we would have burned our bridge with Cigna, Aetna, or whoever else we used to get us there. Okay? So, this is the HSA communication recap. I was asked to bring like a timeline. 2019 open enrollment. During open enrollment last year, one of the questions we had over and over, and one of the things that we kept telling employees, the HSA money is not guaranteed money. It's the difference of what Blue Cross Blue Shield charges and what the county pays. And if Blue Cross Blue Shield charges differently, the HSA could change, okay? It's generated by savings of what you guys were paying to Blue Cross Blue Shield. So we said that over and over in open enrollment meetings last year. The HSA is with Pinnacle Bank. It is totally separate from the medical. So if somebody moves plans, they keep the HSA money that they have. That's not taken away from them. They can still keep it and use it, okay, on medical, dental, and vision. It's just if they move out of being qualified, they can't continue to have money put in there by the IRS. So please be mindful that the Pinnacle HSA is completely separate from the Blue Cross Blue Shield Medical, all right? And that is actually money that goes into an individual bank account of that employee, okay? There's no ties with us on it, all right? Questions that were asked last year. These were the most asked questions from employees during the HSA education. What happens to the money in the HSA if next year the county doesn't continue the same amount to the HSA, or if I don't like this plan and I decide to move back to Plan 1 that was originally offered? The answer, you keep what is in the account, the Pinnacle HSA account, and you can continue to use the money that's in there for medical, dental, or vision. It stays with you from there on out. It's your individual bank account, okay? Do I lose grandfathered status if I move from the original plan to Plan 2 or 3? No. Switching plans shouldn't cause change of grandfather eligibility status. We were told that was based on employees' hire date and when they were first put in the medical, okay? So that has nothing to do with if you move between plans. Okay, here's our timeline to what brought us here tonight. So we received a phone call from Brad Burke on March 4th stating that what was budgeted for on the medical was off and questioning the HSA contributions towards the family tiers on Plan 3. SGI agreed and told him, said yes, the family tiers were incorrect, but also noted there was an 11% increase in enrollment that could have thrown what was budgeted off, okay? I don't know what was budgeted, but that also plays a factor when you have an 11% increase in enrollment. Brad requested that we send him a breakdown of the information regarding those, which was emailed on March 4th. There was 28 employees out of 243 that are enrolled in those family tiers that we're talking about, the impacted tiers. Michael Kennedy contacted our office later expressing concern about stopping the HSA funding back in March mid-year because that was not what had been communicated to employees in open enrollment. So we said, okay, but we need to stop the bleeding. We need to send out something to let people know that new hires coming on, if you selected employee spouse, employee child, or family, wouldn't have that money and that it would be changing. So Sequoia Group was requested to distribute a notice to the administrative contacts going forward about the HSA to the family tiers, and we sent that email and sent it to, I think it's on the next one. On March 4th at 4 p.m. to Tanya Range at the sheriff, Jacqueline Lewis, and Michael Kennedy and Brad in the finance office, and Roger Cobalt or Marquetta over to Highway Department, because those are our administrative contacts of who process the enrollment and things like that. So SGI, at that time, I received personally several phone calls. A couple of them were from the spouses of people at the Highway Department, and I talked to them on the weekends through it. Some of them were confused. They weren't even on Plan 3. Others were a little confused because they were employee only, and it didn't even affect them anyway. The couples that I talked to that it affected, and I explained it and walked them through it, and they understood. But I received several calls from the Highway Department and the Sheriff's Department during that time. The main concerns that were expressed was if it was going to happen effective immediately, and we were told that it wasn't. Second concern expressed is the cost of the medical premium out of their paycheck would increase. A lot of people read that HSA and they thought that it was going to be more expensive for them to keep their medical plan through. Like it's $11 per paycheck for employee plus child. You can't go find that anywhere. So they thought, I talked to a gentleman that was in the Register of Deeds office, and that's what he was worried about. He was worried about his $11 per paycheck was going to increase. And I was like, no, this is on the HSA part. So the third concern that was expressed during that time was that the medical plan was changing. Okay? The medical plan with Blue Cross is not changing. It's still the exact same plan, exact same type of coverage. So I received an email from the Register of Deeds dated April 17th that they were informed by the finance office about the HSA. So we were trying to communicate this before open enrollment. So coming up to open enrollment, we emailed the enrollment flyer which detailed and highlighted the change of the HSA to the family tiers to Michael Kennedy on May 27th to post in the employee common areas. Then we came up and distributed the booklets and the flyers on June 1st. SGI started the open enrollment meetings on Monday, June 8th, and we didn't receive any negative feedback at that time from the Sheriff's Department. Colton and Ernie were over there doing that with the employees that they had set down because several of them had already known about it. One of the employees, SGI was told by Michael on 4 p.m. Tuesday that we needed to meet with 3 very disgruntled employees in the courthouse on the meeting of June 10th regarding the HSA funding. So we came to meet with them, but Michael wasn't in the meeting. One of the employees was understanding of the information, but 2 were still unhappy out of 240. One employee that was very unhappy actually asked Colton and them, "Where is Kelly? She made a mess of things and she's not here to fix it." Just so you guys know, I would have been here for open enrollment, but I had my kid's father had to have emergency quadruple bypass surgery and almost died. So that was a little rough on my kids, so that's why I wasn't here. That employee left the meeting, went straight to Michael Kennedy's office. When we followed up with Michael Kennedy said that the employee said that we were blaming the finance office, which was not correct. We were trying to walk him through the numbers of what happened. On June 11th, Michael suggested that we send another email correspondence just strictly to the 28 employees that are impacted, walking them through what it was. And so we did that. And we sent the email communicating to the impacted employees that it was an error from last year and that it was something not being taken away. That those employees, those 28 employees actually benefited $3,100. Okay? So after that email, we heard from 3 more employees. One that did not understand that they could continue to use and keep the HSA from last year. Okay, so that was some confusion. They didn't realize they still had $33,000 in their HSA. They didn't realize, they thought it was going away totally. Okay, they're keeping it, they're just not getting an additional $3,100 if they stay there. One spouse who was thinking about dropping coverage without having any other medical coverage because she was that upset about the HSA and didn't understand. When I talked to her, she didn't have coverage offered through her employer. And she said, well, I guess, she said, Kelly, if I go get an individual plan, then my husband can move to employee only and get the $3,100 again this year, right? And I said, yes, ma'am. I said, you can do that. I said, but it's about math. I said, for you to go get an individual plan, it's probably going to cost you more than $3,100 a year for the same good coverage that you have here. And I said, if it costs you more than that, then I wouldn't do it. I would just stay on the medical here because it's still a good plan. Does that make sense? Okay. One that did not understand that they could still use the HSA funds for their spouses or children, even if they're not on the medical. Okay? So that money that they have in their HSA, they can use it for their spouses, medical, dental, or vision, and their children, even if they're not on their medical, by IRS guidelines. Brad Burt called me on the afternoon of Friday, June 12th, asking if we could come present to you guys, stating that several of y'all were extremely upset and that there was a lot of miscommunication and misunderstanding going on. Other services that we offer to the county at no cost that you guys weren't getting before: one-on-one enrollment and education of the employees, all-inclusive benefit guides and materials, the ACA reporting, we're doing that, benefits administration portal and system, 24/7 availability, claims support to employees and administration, monthly enrollment support meeting with the Sheriff's Department, We're there every month to meet with the new hires and employees in person and any employees that have issues. And then human resources support. So through the COVID-19 and the FFCRA, I was sending documentation to Michael and Brad to try to help them because they're not staffed for HR. They have to deal with a lot of finance stuff. Section 125 cafeteria plan documentation and compliance. Questions about FMLA leave, Title VI compliance and documentation. And we still got to do the HIPAA manual and training, which is to be determined. So, hopefully I got through that quicker. They threatened me. So. Is there any questions? You all probably need some time to chew on it. Yes.
So we hired you as our broker, signed a contract. You've all basically sold a quality service to our employees, quality product on the HSA. That's taxpayer money that they have to pay now. Is SGI going to step up and get some of that bill?
What is it, Travis?
We didn't budget for that extra 28 people, as far as I know.
Right.
That's a product you all sold to them, and now the taxpayer has to pay that price.
Right.
Are you all going to step up and fit some of that bill?
We are.
Okay.
Do we know what that part of the bill is?
Brad?
And do we need to do it for the whole year, or should we do it
Through February.
when the county was aware of it?
Where the will of this body is.
Do what?
I'm assuming where the will of this body is.
And the collection I have is for 28 people, it's $87,136.
Is that the difference between what you all budgeted and what actually took the claim?
No, that was the additional contribution to the HSA accounts to those individuals who were actually
If
eligible.
you say you run out of money or your money is less used or didn't stretch the fund, you budgeted X amount of dollars for it, correct?
Right.
Okay, and now we find that you have a 11% increase or over the amount that you budgeted?
We don't know what was budgeted as part of
But
the,
I know that, but I'm asking him, he doesn't. Is it 10, 11, 12% above what you had planned?
I have to go look at it. I mean, I can't walk around with numbers just shooting off the top of my head.
Brad, we didn't budget for those bottom three tiers, right? The employee, child, employee, spouse, and family. So that's what we're having to cut.
but can we go back for a second? Because also, the savings was not taken into consideration about the grandfathered people moving to Plan 2 and 3 either. So there was additional savings by doing that, you know, that I think is being overlooked as well.
You are correct. At the time the budget was approved by the budget committee, we didn't know how many people were going to take each plan. It was just an estimate at that time.
So now what are we looking for?
That's what I'm not sure.
So how are these people able to enroll in the plans that they were not eligible for?
So that was on us when we did the open enrollment communication. We said everybody gets the 259, and the family tiers, you know, shouldn't have gotten it because it's 559 minus the Blue Cross Blue Shield premium.
So when I talked to Bill, I was on the road all last week. So I found out about it Friday evening. So I didn't mess with it over the weekend. I looked at it this morning. And I looked at it real quick. So when I sat down with each employee last year, when I sat down with a family, or if I sat down with an employee, Travis, I gave them the 3,100 because that's what I had been told and I thought, okay? So I said to the elected officials here, then if that was not the case, then we owe that money, okay? I said that was pretty simple, okay? What I did have to understand though was the different savings there on people moving around. the other piece of it is between my staff and Brad's staff. Why did it take us to February to find it? Because we send a spreadsheet, a deduction sheet, the whole 9 yards. It wasn't a pretty sight in my office this morning, believe me. Okay, as I was asking questions. Because it should have been found July. Because we send it to their office, look at it the whole 9 yards. So, that's that. But,
Well, actually, it was found in March by Brad's office.
yeah, well, no, but I'm just saying, we should have caught it in July of 2019. Okay?
That's what we hired you for.
Do what?
We hired you for.
That's right, that's right. I mean, I sent it to you. Okay? I'm sitting here saying that we own it. But the other thing is, I've got to have clear, concise communication back to my office. That's all I'm saying. We've learned a valuable lesson. So what's the number? I mean, we can talk about it after this meeting or whatever the case may be.
The number I have, 87,136, that's 28 people, 28 employees.
So what about the savings? Let me ask you this. Did we put anything, because I don't know the budget. So, did we have anything in our budget that allowed for people that had not been on the plan coming on the plan? Did we have that? Okay. Okay.
So that was above and beyond.
Do what?
That would be above and beyond.
That's something
all
that-
budgeted for. That was my point of view.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Brad is exactly right. This is what he hired us for. So when we go out to present to all full-time employees, we offer the plan. Okay? You're going to have some contraction and you're going to have some growth depending on what the plan is of people coming on to your plan and coming off of the plan. As Kelly put, it was what, Kelly, 11%? It's about 11% push. That wasn't on the plan before that. Okay? So going forward, excuse me, as these, as our benefits continue to do a better job of the employees taking care of themselves and their loved ones, then we need to be cognizant that our enrollment may increase. Enrollment increases, numbers are going to go up, it's going to affect the budget.
Can I make a motion, Chairwoman, that we allow Brad and Sequoia to work out the numbers to both sides come to and present to financial management in July?
Motion on the floor.
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Jenkins. Any discussion?
One comment, Madam Chair, if you will permit.
Any further discussion on motion?
I didn't hear the motion.
The motion was to have it go back to financial management, discussion of the numbers from Sequoia.
Let Brad and
Brad.
and Sequoia discuss and work out the numbers with the increases
And bring it to
present the
finance.
numbers.
Present the numbers.
Brad, you'll give me a call either tonight or in the morning. You find we work this out real quick. Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Brad.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Kelly, that's over your hand.
No further discussion on the motion?
Fraser ain't in here yet.
We're gonna have to mark, unless he comes back, we gotta wait.
Unless you've added.
Fraser, have to mark.
Add that. Yes, no.
Like Mark, be back, just take a night. Check on here.
Here comes Frank.
Here comes Frank.
Aaron, you're aware of the motion, you're up to date on what we're voting on?
Yes.
Okay. Madam Clerk? Call roll.
Can you mark him absent here? Cancel the vote, mark him absent, and then restart the vote. Mark him absent now.
That's not it.
You marked the wrong one absent. You marked Gary Bailey.
Sorry.
Bye, Gary. Second one.
Mark Blevins.
Top left row.
No. Right click it. No, no, no. On his name.
Motion passed.
One question. I would assume that check would need to be written in the month of June, so it would be on 2019 and 2020 budget, is that right? That'd be good. That'd be good. And one of you'll be fine.
You're sorry.
Mr. Blake, are you okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
Okay, next we're going to move into public comments. And before we get started with public comments is what it is. It's comments only. It's 5 minutes. It's going to be 5 minutes, and I will not tolerate any disrespect towards the commissioners or vice versa. So if there's anyone that has anything to say in public comments, you can come on up to the podium.
Good afternoon. So, I hear that we had a little heated discussion on the motion.
You scared to say your name and
I'm Shannon Fasad, and I'm the director of Elizabeth and Frank County Election. So I hear that there's a little bit of a heated discussion on Thursday, so I want to help clear some of the confusion up, I hope. So, I want to let everyone know that I've spoken with Brad and I've burnt his telephone up and he's helped me tremendous. So I'm going to explain the budget cycle we're in now that we're getting ready to close out. So this budget was for 2019 and 2020. Our budgeted amount was $470,920.07. The city of Elizabethton pays $125. Minus the budgeted donations and restitutions, leaves the county balance of $235,815.88 for our county park to fund the Elizabethton Park County Animal Shelter. Looks like at the end of the fiscal year, the shelter has saved on the budget and taxpayers approximately $45,000 on that budget. So I want everyone to know and to understand that the shelter and my staff do everything possible that we can to save a tax dollar a tenth. That matters to us. Even though we knew we had extra money left in our budget months back, we didn't find extra things to spend that money on. In turn, we let that money go back into the general fund account, correct? That's where it goes up to. So we want everyone to be aware that that $45,000 approximately will be turned back over into the general fund. Through the COVID-19, our staff continue to work 7 days a week. We had deposits every Monday and every Thursday in great adoptions throughout the COVID-19. So there's people that come and got their little furry friend to make the COVID-19 better for them. Let's see. As far as the questions about the Friends of the Shelter and how they're supporting the shelter, so here's just a little few things that the Friends of the Shelter, which is a 501c3, has helped the shelter. They paid for a commercial washer and dryer. It was $12,000 that I didn't come back to the Carter County Commission and ask for the money. They paid for insulation that we paid Trademark for the money to put in a enclosed area in the roof part. And when we went up there to look to put a light in, there was no insulation. So instead of fighting with Trademark, Friends of the Shelter said we'll put the insulation in there and we'll be done with it. They also paid for a steel weed eater. When ours tore up, we didn't have to take it out of our budget. Materials to repair fencing, latches, and kennels, and replace a fence out back was average $2,400. They paid for the windows and the doors for the catios, and that's around $890. So they covered a dog area out back so that the dogs could exercise and actually have some shade for $1,300. So I wanted you all to know that the shelter is saving all that we could. And if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
I have one if I may.
Commissioner Cole.
Did I understand that you do weekly deposits?
That's correct.
And do you know what that is in a year's time, approximately?
Approximately $40,000 to $50,000.
And did I understand that that goes back to the general fund, not to your account?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Mr. Song, how long do y'all keep the animal before you euthanize?
So we do not have a time limit on an animal, and I've heard a lot of concerns that says, oh, they keep them over a year, they're 2 years there. That's not correct. We have sponsors that will come in and sponsor those animals if they've known they've been there. We have regulars that come through our shelter. And when they come through our shelter and they see, we have tags on all our kennels. And when they see an animal's been there for a period of time, I'll sponsor that one. Usually when you put up a sponsored animal, they're gone quick.
So what's, have y'all ever considered a time limit?
We have discussed times before. There's not really a need to, because they're not there that long. Any other questions? Sure.
When animal control goes to pick them up, and they say that it's full, if they're not there that long, then why are they saying it's full? I mean, I'm not blaming you, I'm not blaming the church, but somewhere we're getting conflicting stories. As this body, there's only 24 of us. This one's got opinion, that's got opinion, that's got opinion, so, you know, if they're full, they can't take them. So if you're empty, why ain't you taking them?
So,
You can't have both ways.
so we get animals in all the time. And when we get litters in, or we get, say, mom and babies, or we get just the babies, we'll get anywhere from 8 to 10 at that point in time. We have a number, last year, during kitten and puppy season, I had 180 cats and 85 dogs. I had 19 of those that was from an animal cruelty case. And I have to hold those till the judge rules on that. I have 8 of those in the shelter right now that the case has been put off till the end of July, and I've had them since the 1st of September of last year. So, and I've had up to 19 there on an animal cruelty case. It took us about 5 to 6 months to get through court. So just as soon as we have animals going out, we have that many more coming back in. And we have a list of animals that when we don't have time, well, not time, but we don't have space, we put them on an emergency list. We will never ever refuse an animal in emergency. So just as soon as we get, say we adopt that litter out, we'll call somebody else to bring in another one to fill that kennel.
They hit the 5-minute rule, aren't they?
It is, but we kind of started some questions from the commissioners that took some of her time, so we just trying to let her respond to the questions. Is there any further questions, Commissioner Sawyer, Commissioner Hill?
Shannon, do we have any large donors like Washington County has? And if not, what would it take to get a large donor?
So I'd be happy to have a large donor, and I would love to have one come speak with me. We do not have the population in Carter County that Washington County does. I speak with their director on a frequent basis. They have some large donors. We've had the estate, and the estate money was allocated what she wanted it for. That's the largest donor that I really know of that has personally came and spoken with me. Any other questions?
Yeah, I mean, I've got one. We all talked about this the other night, but nobody has any questions, so. 501c3, has there been any discussion for that?
So we have talked about a 501c3, and a 501c3 is harder, and I know you all talked about the Washington County shelter at Thursday's meeting. So she has over $1 million budget. She's funded 49% and she fundraises 51%. But like we just stated, she has large donors over there. We don't have large donors here in Carter County. The fundraising there, they have tons of doctors and businesses there that help fund her. We don't have that many here in Carter County. We've discussed it, we've talked about it. The Friends of the Shelter is doing fundraising, 501c3. We hope it gets to a point that we say we need this much money from the county, we need this much money from the city, and the Friends of the Shelter is funding this much money, and hopefully we can all meet in the middle. We've not gotten there yet. But they have helped cut the budget costs for the city and the county by donating what they could from their fundraisers. Anyone else? Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Ball. Anyone else that would like to come up for public comment? If you'll state your name and your address, please.
My name is Brenda Persinger, and I live on Steel Ridge Road in Elizabeth. I just want to brag on our shelter and the dedication of our staff there. It is the cleanest that's ever been with limited staff. And I've heard rumors that some commissioners have been asking others to not be in favor or not voting for the shelter. As an elected official, we the people have elected it. It's a shame that we try to degrade any office that you would have a say to the vote on. If we had stricter spay and neuter laws and more responsible pet owners in our county, we would not be talking about it in the budget because the problem would be solved. When the laws are presented to be voted on, please consider voting for them. We have a beautiful shelter, and our Carter County should be really proud of it. We have state-of-the-art. 80% of the cats are free roaming, and that is thanks to the Delaware estate. As a taxpayer and anyone who would be voting in my district, I will be watching to see how the commissioners vote for the shelter, and that will determine who I vote for. As I have heard rumors last week's meeting, it is a shame, disgrace if things got so out of hand and so bad that the meeting might not should have been shut down instead of Grayson County talking about shooting the animals. Social Security is always running short, but we do not go around talking about shooting each other to save money. We are the only voices for the animals. They meow and they bark, but we are certainly their voices, and I hope you will consider that. Thank you for your time.
Anyone else with other comments? Ma'am? You'll state your name and your address, please.
It's Terry Dalton, and I live at 159 Green Valley Lane in Hunter. My property borders Elizabeth Airport property. I've lived there for over 50 years. And used to, when Moody had the airport, we'd have real hard rains or downpour or something. It got to pour water to wash across our backyards, through our gardens and everything. And we told Moody about it, you know, we had a, I think it was Jerry Hayes dig a ditch down through there. Just down the side of the airport, down into a little creek that runs down the Watauga River, and drainage, you know. But that was 2 times. Since then, they've rebuilt onto the runway 2 times. Used to, the runway was almost level with my yard, now I have to look up at it. We've got all this water running off. It's affected at least 6 people I know of. And I guess, I don't know, all our houses are probably a couple $100,000, pretty nice houses. Just like I had last year, I had to spend about $3,000 on septic tank troubles. You want to have it pumped. Had a neighbor had the same thing, water level got up over the tank. And so what I'm saying now is that ditch that used to be 35, 40 years ago pretty nice. It's got to where it's got trees and stuff big as your leg and your arm. It's not really much of a ditch. It doesn't drain. And the airport don't act like they care, you know, when you try to talk to them about it. And we've talked to our commissioners about it. And see, the runway's been extended. The runway's almost, the airport's like almost a mile long, that little airport up there, Elizabeth Airport. And there's a lot of pavement up there. And when it rains, there's a lot of water up there. There's a lot of runoff. And I can watch the water run. Used to be in the neighbor's yard. They moved that house, they bought that house and moved it. I can watch the water run across it. Heavy rain, continuous rain into my yard, run across my yard into my neighbor's yard, their neighbor and their neighbor. So we're about 6 of us back there that haven't even been able to mow our yard. The grass is up to your knees, above your knees in the back. And then that neighbor across the street, his house and heat pump got full of water underneath. Cost him a lot of money. And so what we need somebody to get to the airport, if they could. I tried a couple of years ago, I talked to all city officials and it's doing good. If they could improve that ditch, that's what a lot of people tell me they think it needs. And also, I think it's Amy, is it Amy Lane? Emily Lane or Drive. It goes down, they built houses in there in the last few years, I'll say a few years, might have been 20 years ago. And the drainage on it is not very good. And they built the JBs, well, it was a Pizza Plus down on Highway 91. When we built that Pizza Plus, they just cut all the drainage off. And Pizza Plus, we got septic tanks in that area. You can't have a septic tank with solid asphalt pavement, but they got one. But there's water draining somewhere there, you can hear it. There's a drain like down the bottom next to the road. But that Emily Lane, the water just backs up in it. Or there's no way it can drain, you know. So the county needs to look at that. I'm not having much luck talking to anybody like about that. You got the city and the county both.
Ms. Whoopi, can I comment just a second? I've been out and looked at his place and neighbor's place. And it's something the county, I feel, the county commission needs to try to get some work out with our state colony problem. Yes, one gentleman there, like you said, it burned his, doesn't work. I was standing there and it had rained in like 3 days. And every 2 or 3 minutes, he had a sub pump under his house, pumping water. And I talked to Gavin. Of course, I talked to Roger about it, and we tried to, we're in the process of getting something done there. I had maybe try to help you, but I totally agree with you, your neighbor.
Yeah, I think maybe that was the way to go out of there. So see, I've lived there, like I said, for 50-some years, and I always got 2 garden spaces in the back. My lot's 100 foot wide.
I hate to interrupt you, but your 5 minutes is up. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just like your name and your address, please.
Linda Rose Pora, 611 McClellan Circle, Elizabethton. I'm here because I would like to say that I fully would like the animal shelter to be supported. I've moved here from other parts of the country, and I have seen a lot of neglect of animals in this part of the country, even though I'm very grateful that I live here. I've met a lot of wonderful people, religious people, moral people, but I also feel that we do need to support the animals that Shannon and our shelter bring in. Worked for the government many years ago, and I'm sure you all know that there's a lot of fraud and corruption in government. Not everybody, but there's a lot. I've seen a lot of waste in a lot of ways. I think if every government office and agency could contribute just a little bit of time to looking where waste is within their own offices and save money so that the shelter doesn't have to be shut down, it'd be a blessing for a lot of people and our animals. I guess that's about it. I just hope that you all will reconsider and support our shelter. It is very much needed. I pay good taxes just like everybody. I paid school taxes all my life. I have no children. I've never asked for why do I have to pay school tax, because I have no children. So at least please donate a little bit of the monies that you can save in your agencies to help support the shelter. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
My name is Alicia Vines, and I live in the Hunter community on Smoky Mountain Place. Some of you already know me, and some of you probably become familiar with me this weekend over my Facebook post, because this is this is something very, very dear to my heart with animals. And I've been working with the Friends of the Shelter until the COVID thing hit, and I think we could do more and maybe get more involvement with our Friends group if everybody would come together and help. But sometimes I get people making comments about what they've heard bad about the shelter, this and that and the other, and it's just all out of proportion. So I hope that we can come together and support the shelter, because it is a very good place and we need it. And it's the staff there now, they're wonderful. And like I said, I volunteer, and now that I quit my job, I hope to be able to volunteer more. And I was going to read about the Sunshine Law, but you all know what the Sunshine Law is. But the Attorney General's office, they offer the following advice. 2 or more members of a governing body should not deliberate towards a decision or make a decision on public business without complying with the Open Meetings Act. Now, having said all this, several have heard around town that some of the commissioners have been discussing how you would vote to defund or reduce the animal shelter budget. Everyone knows that this is in complete violation of the Tennessee Sunshine Law. Deliberating to a decision behind public view is what we hear you're doing now, and it has been done in the past. It appears that there would be no shame in breaking the law or doing harm to a needed service in this county. This is one partnership that addresses a needed service between the city and the county. Have any of you talked with the city council members to ask if taking action in a way in which you have conspired to do will harm the relationship between the city and county governments? All of us, especially those of us that love our animals and animal shelter and want to keep the shelter open and keep it on the budget, we will be watching your actions and your votes, and they will not go unnoticed if you're for or against. And I appreciate your time. Thank you. Thank you.
She's been trying to come up with the last 3 individuals. It's okay.
Thank you.
You'll state your name and your address.
Shirley Harris, 155 Green Valley Lane, Elizabeth. I live on Green Valley Lane on property which I own. And along with my neighbors, we have a standing water problem that has gotten progressively worse since 2013. That's been 7 years ago. And this water problem stands for 2 to 3 months at least every year. This has been one of the years, this year, the one and only time that I've been able to mow the back of my lot was March 14th. It is still muddy and wet and with tall grass, weeds, and who knows what else in there. It's aggravation. We have mosquitoes. We have all kinds of creatures traveling around, and it does not smell good at all. Somebody needs to do something. 1 week after your county commission meeting in May, I spoke by phone with Commissioners Acuff, Campbell, and Blevins. All 3 of these fellows seem to be well aware of our problems. What I want to know is, have you really found out what caused this problem? And most of all, right now, what is being done to correct it?
Answer your question. You said, you called me, and Mr. Acuff. The problem is coming from your airport, and the county has no control of that airport. We cannot put county equipment over on that airport to get the ditch down. Unless we get approval from the Full County Commission and approval of the airport. Is that right, Mr. Yes, you're right. And get this done, we talk to people at the airport, they don't quit on it. We can't go through people's property, we can't go through people's fences. And until then, I don't know what to tell you to do, but I told you on the phone, we're doing the best that we can do, and we're trying to get in contact with other people. Until then, I feel sorry for you, because I know you're home. We'll try to do the best that we can do. But you've had, what, 1.5 miles, 2 miles, more airport asphalt put in there. I think for every square feet of asphalt, you had, what, 2 inches of water, or 1.5 inches of water. It comes, it sends that much more water toward you. They also put in four more culverts under that airport. It's giving you twice the water that you had before. So the airport is really the one that's causing your problem. You never had a problem until they really extended this last portion of the airport. And when they sloped that one, they brought it in this way. We sent it right down. So those couple boxes they put in, it's like 24 and 20. That's twice that carload of water in the middle of that airport. And they've got the airport slope that it runs into the middle, the box goes, pick it up, and bring it toward you. And that's really what's happening right now. Until we can get something done at the airport, to get permission inside, there's nothing we can do. Does that answer your question? And we're trying.
Keep trying. We need your help there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
State your name and your address, please.
It's Maggie Davis. I live on Smoky Mountain Place, block number 2. And Risha's my neighbor, and she's the one who told me about this. Somebody say something. When I was a little girl, my daddy used to read to me a story, a true story, about an attorney, George Graham Vest. This was in the 1800s. He was representing a man whose neighbor had killed his dog. So, this is what he said, and it's called A Tribute to the Dog. The one absolutely unselfish friend that a man can have in this selfish world, one that never deserts him, one that never proves ungrateful or treacherous, is his dog. A man's dog stands by him in prosperity and in poverty, in health and in sickness. He will sleep on the cold ground where the wintry winds blow and the snow drives fiercely, if only he may be near his master's side. He will kiss the hand that has no food to offer. He will lick the wounds and sores that come in encounters with the roughness of the world. He guards the sleep of his pauper master as if he were a prince. When all other friends desert, he remains, when all other friends desert, he remains. When riches take wings and reputation falls to pieces, he is as constant in his love as the sun in its journey through the sky. If fortune drives the master forth, an outcast in the world, friendless and homeless, the faithful dog asks no higher privilege than that of accompanying him, to guard him against danger, to fight against his enemies. And when the last scene of all comes and death takes his master in its embrace and his body is laid away in the cold ground, no matter if all other friends peruse their way, there by the graveside will the noble dog be found, his head between his paws, his eyes sad, but open, I have a hard time reading this, but open in alert watchfulness, faithful and true even in death. And that's, to me, when I heard about this, I thought, I've just got to get this across to people because it's so important. Please don't defund the shelter. Thank you.
Thank you.
David Harris, 155 Green Valley Lane. Appreciate your comments to my mother.
David Harris.
Appreciate your comments to my mother, Mr. Campbell. In respect to that, I understand the culverts are a problem at the airport for the drainage issue. The problem is, though, that drainage continues on down and it goes down to a road that's a county road. Okay, so to me, that problem, I understand, yes, the drainage initially starts with the airport, and yes, you're gonna have to deal with the city. But that's why we're coming to you all of you, we're asking you, you've got people whose back is against the wall. We don't know where to go, we don't know what to do, we get no response from the city, so we're asking you to intervene. We're asking you to help us. There's stagnant water standing back there. In no way can that be healthy. So we're asking you to figure out a way, whatever you have to do, whatever engineers you have to call in, state departments call in, EPA, whoever you gotta get, please, bring them in. Bring them in, let's find out what we gotta do to solve the problem. Because in no way, shape, or form is that healthy for anybody. And that grass that's growing back there, the drainage back there in the woods behind it, there's no cause for it. It hasn't been there until the airport did it. I realize the airport may be the city, but somehow, some of y'all have got to know somebody in the city to talk to. They won't talk to anybody that lives over there because they tell us, you're the county, you're not the city. So that's what it boils down to. I realize it's a task, I realize it's two different agencies to deal with, but I mean, we're asking you to cut the bureaucratic tape and help us. That's what we need. I'll let y'all be with that. You know, but that's the cause that we have for you, because we're asking you to do something for us as people in the community. That's what we ask y'all to be here for.
My name is Tim Vines. I also live on Smoky Mountain Lane. It's the only time we get to talk because my wife has to sit over there. First, I want to say I'm sorry for the problem people's having with the water. I'm sorry about that, but I'm up here to talk about this animal shelter issue. And I understand the questions, and first I want to commend all you guys. I know I couldn't imagine what kind of job you got to try to spend as little money as you can and get the most out of it. I understand that. And I understand this is not a rich county compared to the counties around, some of the counties around. We all here, I don't think anybody here hates animals. I don't want to think that. I love all kinds of animals. I guess it's been about a year ago, I started, no, it's been a little longer now. I had to retire due to some health problems. And I thought, well, I'll go down at the shelter and volunteer and see what I can do. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. The amount of work it takes to run that shelter is just incredible. The amount of cleaning every day. And they do a good job. But looking at it, I want to bring up the practical sense of having a nice shelter. Like I said, we all love animals. But if we don't have that shelter, or we make it to where we're very limited on how many animals we can take care of there at a time, you know, where are these animals going to go? You know, they're going to be in mighty little backyards. Cats, if anybody's had cats, one turns to 100 in about a year. I mean, they reproduce like rabbits. I mean, and dogs too. You get one or two dogs together, ain't too bad, but you get a pack of dogs and they're a mess. But the amount of money that's spent on the shelter, I believe is we save much more money having it than not having it. Due to rabies, if you don't have animals belonging to someone or in that shelter, you don't know where those animals go, you don't know where they've been, you don't know if they have rabies or what other kind of sickness they may carry to other people. But I'm just here to bring up the part about the shelter, and I hope you keep an open mind with it. And thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else with public comments?
Hello, my name is Crystal Palladino. I live at 347 Mountain View Drive in Hampton. I'm totally unprepared because I just come to watch my comments, but I felt compelled to say I'm an employee at the Carter County Animal Shelter. I am a single mother of 3 children. I work 6 days a week now. During COVID, we worked 7 days a week. Not one time did any of us complain about having to go in extra. I go in on the weekends at night in my off time to feed the kittens that we have. Currently we have 70 cats. Over probably about 40% of those are kittens. And it's 2 people on all of that a day, every day for 6 days. You know, with my children, we've had to do homeschool over the COVID. We do this because we love to do this. We don't ask for anything extra. We don't expect anything extra. We do what we need to do because we love to do it. And I really, some of the comments that I've heard were made about the shelter, some of the comments that I've heard about Shannon, I know to be untrue. I have had Shannon in my life for about 15 years now. And she is a wonderful person. She is a very loving person. She is a very outspoken person, and sometimes that comes across wrong. But she gets done what she needs to get done, and she does it with a lot of heart. And sometimes people who can't understand that take that the wrong way. But she does what's best for her employees first, and she does what's best for the community and for the animals. And there's nothing bad that should ever be said about the shelter or the employees, including our director.
My name is Bobby Fraser. I live at 137 Shenandoah Road. I just finished up my 13th year teaching in Carter County in elementary school. 12 of those 13 years, my students have done one thing in the school that they, as 8th graders, they're still thinking about when they did in kindergarten at the time. It was a thing called 12 Dogs of Christmas, where you have 5, 6, 7, 8-year-olds who forego exchanging presents with each other in the classroom to take up pennies and nickels and quarters and donations for the animal shelter. So these are 5-year-olds who love their toys and they're letting those go to help our animal shelter. And instead of just me delivering it to the shelter, like I have offered to do every year for Shannon, she sends people up to the school to not only thank the kids, but to also educate them on what they can do besides just taking up stuff one time a year to help. Every year at 8th grade graduation, as I'm talking to these kids, that's the one thing they remember. They don't remember the field trips. They definitely don't remember the reading. But they remember the dogs coming up. In the process, we have gotten 3 dogs adopted because people in the faculty in the school have found the puppies that he brings up to get to play with the kids. That's not something they have to do. That's something that she chooses to do for this community. To not only help the animals, but educate the kids so that they can make better choices growing up. So we don't have some of these problems that fall in animal shelters' laps. Thank you.
Anyone else for public comments? With that being said, I'll end public comments and we will recess for 15 minutes. We'll go ahead and begin back with the agenda. We'll let the mayor report. Mayor.
I'll try to make it short and sweet. I'm here to bring the cheer to everybody, so, it's my job, I guess. Anyway.
The mayor is there, Mike.
No.
Is there, Mike?
There's no mic.
No mic.
Commissioner Von Cannon.
Oh, yeah.
No. We're gonna mic this.
Mike's getting Jeremy, we can't do the mic. Anyway, first of all, I want to say you guys, Animal Shelter, I've been around a year and a half, almost 2 years. I've been around, we've got a nice facility over there, and it's well kept. I know we got overpopulated or whatever, but it is what it is. I just want to say keep up the good work, you work long hours and hard work, and appreciate what you do. So, thank you for that. Okay. Another positive note. I like to do the positive notes. I like to do positive. The virus, COVID-19, as of today, 2,247 negatives, 20 positives, no active cases. So we're still doing really well in Carter County. And that being said, that goes to say that the people of Carter County, what we did, what we're supposed to do. I saw on social media, I hate social media. One day somebody got on social media and said, I went through town, it was packed. I drove down through town and there was nobody there. They were just trying to stir the pot. And I didn't want to get on there, but I didn't get on there. I had to keep my mouth shut. But nobody downtown is trying to get going, but people did what they're supposed to, and I see a lot of them still doing it, the social distancing, but I'm really proud of Carter County. We did what we did, and I had people from the legislators and stuff from down the road. You know, they go, hey, what are y'all doing up there? You know, what are y'all doing to keeping this down? You know, I said, well, we do what we're supposed to. We go by the rules. You know, if everybody goes by the rules, there will be no problems in this country. We got a lot of problems right now. Go with the rules. But anyway, I'm not preaching. Yeah, awesome. Did a little homework after the budget workshop the other night, looking through some grant money. Said that we didn't have got any grant money. We got a little bit. We got just roughly from First Tennessee Development helped us get some. We got $1,656,429. That's just a rough estimate. Plus we had $1 million from TCAT. I count that. That's Carter County. You know, little stuff like $50,000 from Miss Abby wrote one for 3-star grant, $50,000. You know, we had dog park grants, $25,000. Health park, $20,000. I can go on. The EMA, they write them all the time to get $4,000 or $5,000. A lot of grants through the EMA. So that's about the grant money. And did check on the USDA grants. USDA grants, you get about 15% max. They say if you get 20, you're flying, 20% on those USDA grants. So that would be, you know, that's not a very good match when you that'd be 85-15 against us. So that's not very good, but I'm still looking, more grants. Most of them 50-50, 60-40. You find a few sometimes, you know, 70-30, but that's, you know, it's hard to find 100% grants. It's very hard, but we're still looking. Good news too, more good news. Been talking with Northeast State. Northeast State is staying. All they're wanting is a little bit of help on the rent. That's, you know, they're wanting to stay. Talking to Dr. Flora. She got another name now. She got married, but still Dr. Flora to me. And they are wanting to stay. But you know, we just need to still negotiate the lease and work with them a little bit, get, you know, do a little work up there. Workforce development. there. Parking lot looks great. Dog box crew, they did a great job on it, looks great. I think we're looking now, maybe get striped. So that's a good project, looks good. Courthouse security project, we're still doing some talking with the architects, trying to get some little things worked out. We're still working with them. We're talking, having some water issues up toward the Butler Park. We haven't reached water up to Fish Springs. But on past Fish Springs, you know, where the resort's going, she's got a well and all that, but those subdivisions up there, Carterview supports them. And they're having some water, they've got the water, found out just the other day, they've got the water source, they just got a filtration, one of them, the filtration center or whatever, needs some work on it, you know. That's what's lacking, they need some funding, you know. I wish we could, you know, we might look at some grants there. I'm not sure how that. I've been talking with First Tennessee Development 2 or 3 days this week. Looking at that, Johnson County wants to help do their share on their side, but they support a lot of people on the Carter County side. You know, we're in talks with Carterview about the water problems up there. So again, I want to thank everybody for what they did during the crisis we had. I call it a major crisis. And I want to thank everybody for what they did, and it made my job a lot easier. So, any questions for me? Yes, sir.
Where are you at in the substation, EMA substation?
Substation, going to finish up the electricity tomorrow. We'll have electricity run wiring, electricity ready. We're ready for septic system, got the tank on the way. We'll have water and lights on it hopefully in a couple of weeks. And then we go from there. We'll paint, a little bit of hardwood. It'll be open. I mean, it'll be ready. I mean, the building will be ready, but then we'll have to concentrate on a building to put some apparatus.
That's one on 321, right?
Yes, sir. On 321. It looks looking pretty good. It's just got to do a little more work, a little paint, a little flooring. I'm curious to see, it's already got air conditioned heaters in it. They were working when they took them down to Dr. Ward here. Anyway, they were working. They were head start and they were working. I mean, so we may not have to do a heat pump or anything. So right now we've got a total of about $3,000 tied up. So I think we're doing pretty good. Any more questions?
Budget. Commissioner Garland.
Madam Chair. Just for some clarification on the budget, we had the workshop, and I think that's where a lot of the animal shelter things came out. There's no talk about defunding the shelter. There's just maybe some cost cuts and some efficiency questions, things like that. So no defunding, so don't really worry too much about that. But we're still working. We appreciate Shannon and thank you guys for your support of the shelter. Thanks for being here. But as for us, Budget Committee, we met this past Monday for another 5-hour deal and got plenty of stuff to approve. So I'll go ahead and get started on that. And the first motion I will make is to approve the installation of new security doors at the old courthouse, an amount not to exceed $23,485.
Second by Commissioner Blevins. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Charlie. Very good.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Next item, I'll put in the form of a motion to approve budget amendment for the planning department, an increase to line 101-51720-141, and increase 101-51720-169 by $2,793.89, and this is for payout accrued vacation and comp time for a terminated employee.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Frazier. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll. Motion passed.
Next item, a motion to approve costs of up to $3,500 for installation of glass barriers and a door in the circuit court clerk's office. This will be money funded from the grant fully.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Bailey. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll. Motion passes.
Thank you. The next item, a motion to approve an EMA carryover of unspent 19 and 20 funds of approximately $4,200 to purchase chairs, desks, computers, etc. for the new EOC office.
Second.
Second. Commissioner.
That amount again, that's not what I'm reading.
I've got 4,200.
That's
We're showing 96.
That I had included the money for the grant, which shouldn't be included.
Well, can we have this up to about 8 or something from budget or something like that? Is that?
I think it's 55 or something.
Oh, okay. Okay. Is that clear, Ms. Color?
Well, I'm seeing 9,600.
Well, I think you said the 4,200 is actually monies that will be carried over. The rest of it's from a grant that was available, I think, $4,500 or something.
Yeah, the rest of Tennessee Rescue Grant.
So carry over 4,200.
That was second by Commissioner Reissack. Any more discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll. Motion passed.
All right, the next item, this came from the budget, and of course, we passed it 7-1 for county commission to consider the recommendation by state auditors regarding overpayments to former county officials and additional payments to certain current county officials. Cost to our general fund, $30,499.40, and highway public works fund, $4,792.77. And then this stems from where we had overpayments to the county mayor and the register of deeds office, where we forgave that a few months ago. Your second one?
Motion is second.
Second.
Second. Commissioner Campbell, any discussion?
So, to clarify, because we overpaid those two back in July, a year and a half ago, we have to pay the current ones the same amount that we paid them.
Yeah. What we overpaid them, we have to pay, minus the mayor's office and register of deeds office. That includes sheriff, highway department, the official, and all of our other department heads and officials. That'd be general fund. I mean, that'd be from fund balance, general fund, and then, of course, from the highway department, their general funds.
And then it's state mandated.
Well, it's not state mandated. I mean, it's state mandated salaries, but this was an audit find, and they felt that if we didn't kind of take care of this, that it would continue to be a fine and a problem for us moving forward.
That's their recommendation.
So, it's just a one-time deal, right?
Yeah, one time, and that would take care of it. The 9,000 we forgave, kind of, it set us back possibly up to almost 38 or so. 35, something like that.
Brad, I believe Ross touched on it, but if we don't pass this, it will stay as a fine until we clear that. Is that correct?
Well, that question, we had a meeting with auditors last week for an entrance conference for the start of a new audit. And I asked them that question, what would happen if the county commission chooses not to make those payments? And she said that she couldn't really say if it would be a fine or not. But I would say almost assuredly it would be a fine for 1920. And she also said that if they're not paid, if they could set up a payable in the general fund, and it will be a fine in future years if those payables aren't liquidated. It could be.
And just to reiterate one thing, we did find what caused it in the first place, and it has been corrected.
Yes.
What's the consequence of having a continual audit finding on an issue? What's the consequence of that?
Just get the scope again next year.
Or, I mean, I guess possibly some of these officials could take it upon themselves to take action.
That was the
We know they wouldn't do anything like that, right? So.
Well, I would say this, just to say it. Obviously, the full commission considered this, and there were special circumstances where the commission decided to forgive the overpayment that was mistakenly made to the two former officials. We got a lot of current officials who are going to be getting paid extra based on that mistake, and the easy solution is, those officials can donate the money right back to Carter County, and we can be in compliance with state law, and they can get paid their full salary.
That's an option. For them. I mean, we can't say anything, hey, we pay this out to you, it's got to go somewhere. That's totally up to them.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
We got to keep in mind also from the financial management department, being the financial director, that it is one thing that goes toward his annual evaluation on his job is reoccurrence, that's found on state. Everybody keep that in mind because he's, that's sticking his neck out, which he don't have no direct law, but still, when he comes to evaluation time, that's another law crap.
But it is unfortunate, but that's what we felt as a budget committee, to move it to full commission and have discussion and see where we stood after that. Mr. Gill?
I was the single no vote when this forgiveness plan was put forward several months ago, because this commission had been, with great zeal, seeking repayment of bonuses and everything else, and it seemed that we should operate with some degree of consistency. For that reason, I do not support this one either.
What was the vote budget? Do you remember?
Pardon?
What was the vote budget? What it passed?
7-1. Pretty sure that's right.
Any further discussion?
This commission kicked the can down the road, or do we just go ahead and take care of our mistake?
Well, the mistake was never taken care of. The additional mistake was never cleared. The thing to do would have been to recoup the inaccurate payments, and then there would have been no finding. Now we're closing the barn doors after all the animals have escaped, and we're doing that at a cost of $35,000 extra. And I don't really feel like spending that tonight.
Well, I don't think any of us want to. We just try to clear it up. But I mean, that's why it's brought to the floor, to have this discussion and bring it to a vote.
Sure, this too, Mr. Gill, you wouldn't want to vote against it. I did too.
Any further discussion? Let Madam Clerk call the roll.
All right. We'll move on. We'll start on the budget amendments in your packet there if you want to follow along. The first item I'll put in the form of a motion to approve is General Fund 101, budget amendment number 11, total of $169,691.26, 4106.561 from fund balance, and $37,495.54 from unassigned funds.
Do I have a second? Second, Commissioner Jenkins, any discussion?
What was the bulk of that supposed to be coming out of, or from the unassigned fund balance? What was the cause of that?
That was money was given to the sheriff for the animal control, 35, I think it was 35 something, that was at that, I've been hold of it. Yeah, where in the past, we never really actually funded that. It was, I'm not sure exactly where it was put into. We had to take monies from overtime and pay out overtime. We had to set it up with that. Mr. Frazier.
What fund did that money actually go to, Brad?
It was never appropriated that I could find. And of course, it's in the general fund. And it was paid out overtime line because the guards at the jail work beyond their normal work schedules.
So essentially, there was an additional $40,000 in the unassigned fund balance that shouldn't have been.
Correct.
Okay.
Any further discussion?
Just help my memory. When did we vote to approve that money? That we accidentally left it in the unassigned fund balance, but like when was it voted to be approved?
It was before I came. I can't tell you exact year. It's my understanding that when the sheriff's department agreed to assume those responsibilities, that the funding was provided along with that.
Is this the first year since then that we've been asked to provide it in this manner?
Yes.
Okay.
To put the animal control officer where I feel they need to be, they are to be. There's just an animal control, animal shelter, that's where I feel that it needs to be. I would support that.
And we've had that discussion, and of course, this was, I think, from Animal Shelter, their board as well, that they weren't really ready at this time to start to appropriate that position at their office and then to take funding off this year. So that's why our sheriff, he said he'd do it for one more year and leave it up to, and that money is supposed to be appropriated in his budget for 2021. And then address the following year to try to get it in animal shelter, but that hasn't been.
We fund this, if we take it from the animal shelter, fund it.
No, it won't do that. This is money from the general fund to put into his budget to cover those overtime costs, basically.
Because we originally gave the money for the animal control officer, so why are we having to pay over?
Well, actually, we did give them that money. That's why they were short and had to use the overtime payments, right? Is that?
We voted.
We said we would, but it was never, put into their line item. And that, as Brett said, that was before, he was in his position.
I just feel that it needs to be put down there. I mean, it's not nothing against.
Yeah.
It's not nothing against the sheriff, nothing against Shannon. But, this was discussed before, and maybe we're just prolonging something. It was, with the sheriff, he took a call, an officer comes out, my understanding is that officer called back and said, well, there's an animal control officer out here. gotta wait on him to come out. When actually, if they need an animal control officer, they call it a dog shelter, and it goes out there. And that cuts, that cuts you middleman, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the consensus, and certainly with the sheriff, that he doesn't want, to take on this duty, and that was, Shelter Board has discussed this, and I think they plan the next year. I mean, it's hard, I think, to find the training for that officer and things like that, so that's why it hasn't been put into their department yet.
I commend the sheriff wanting to do it, I think it's a good job on him, but I just can't see further, and I think it needs to be discussed a little bit longer, looked at, but the officers have to show.
Commissioner Frazier.
To Commissioner Blevins' point, this was actually brought up to the budget committee to actually appropriate the funds into the animal shelter for that. And it was nearly $80,000 a year based on the amount of coverage that they would have to have. So this is essentially a 50% discount that the sheriff is offering.
Any further discussion? Commissioner Holder.
So is this money to pay out time that has already been spent, or is this to pay for future time in animal control?
It's to pay the bonus
It's already been paid out.
What, Brad?
It's already been paid out.
Oh, okay, something been paid out, but we gotta pay something back. That's not too big. I mean, I don't know.
See, there was some more funds budgeted in the overtime line, but it was running short, and couldn't find out this was a part of the reason it ran short.
Well, what did it cost us a year to fund this animal control officer?
It's costing, of course, the salary portion, and then the vehicles, insurance, fuel, and currently that's it.
I thought you didn't give me a figure.
Okay, the salary and benefits is $35,551.10. Gas is $500-600. Insurance, $300 or so. So you're looking at $36,500 roughly.
Sure. Has he got this in his budget for 2021 year coming up?
Yes, it's proposed to go in there, yes. And that's what Mr. Frazier was saying. When it first came through, it was $80,000 in an animal shelter budget for this animal control officer. And when Brad talked about the additional costs.
I just didn't want it to come back next year, we still owe all this.
I think there's still some work to be done as far as the animal shelter goes, to maybe talk on that this coming year, see what they can come.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, call the roll. Motion passes.
Next, I'll put in the form of a motion to approve solid waste and sanitation fund 116, amendment 10, a total of $78,349.68.
Second, Commissioner Fowler. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Drug Control Fund 122, Amendment 6, total of $1,418.14. Nothing from fund balance.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Frazier, any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, call the roll. Motion passes.
Thank you. Next item, I need a motion to approve Highway Public Works Fund 131, Amendment 11, a total of $37,069.91. Nothing from fund balance.
Second, Commissioner Blevins. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll. Motion passes.
Next item, put in the form of a motion to approve General Purpose School Fund 141, Amendment 12, total of $692,891.83, $9,335 coming from fund restricted, GPS restricted fund balance.
Motion to approve.
Second by Commissioner Hill.
It don't matter.
That's fine, Dave.
Any discussion? Crap. Madam Clerk, call the roll. Motion passes.
All right, next one, I'll put in the form of a motion to approve General Purpose School Fund 141, Amendment 13, total of $120,912.04, $13,275.82 from restricted fund balance.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Blevins. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll. Motion passes.
Next item, put in the form of a motion to approve General Fund 101, Budget Amendment 11A, a total of $186,555.05, $113,750 coming from unassigned fund balance for inmate medical care and costs for housing juvenile offenders.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Frazier. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll. Motion passes.
All right, next item, put in the form of a motion to approve General Purpose School Fund 141, Amendment 13A, total of $11,422.50, nothing from fund balance.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Frazier. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll. Motion passes.
Last item here, motion to approve monetary donations made to the animal shelter, $651.18.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Crawford. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
contingencies come in about possible refinancing of our jail debt. Basically, that's the only thing we have in our debt service. You know, 4 good presentations. And we will bring that to Budget Committee probably next month and have a decision for full commission at that time, which will save us $1 million, $2 million possibly, something like that. So some good news there. As for, we talked about, I guess we came out of the workshop with the July 9th full commission meeting, a special call meeting, and that was to, if there are any things you'd like to see changed or recommendations or places to make cuts or increases, whatever, that's what would be addressed at that time. I would ask if those would be submitted formally through an email to myself or Mr. Burke at his office so we could address those. Nothing comes in, there's really no need for that meeting. So.
Right, I'm gonna let y'all, county attorney, elaborate on how that's supposed to work, or confusion, or maybe what we can and can't do, and have the discussion again, and I'll let him discussion in the full commission.
I don't know if you're terming that as a workshop or what the goal is, but certainly there cannot be the presentation of the budget to the full commission until it's been published at least 10 days ahead of time and there's been a public hearing. Okay. So if there's going to be any consideration in voting on the budget by the full commission, that can't happen until the publication of the public hearing. It sounds like maybe you could have a special call workshop of the budget committee, but I think, speaking with Brad before we started here, I think maybe the actual budget numbers have already been published. And if those change, then you're going to have to start over, republish, wait another 10 days. So it's going to throw your time off. All right. So you can have a workshop and not vote on anything.
Yeah, I don't want to have another workshop. Brad.
You sure we don't want to have another one?
I'll be happy.
Well, I don't know. And we can get together again, or we can do it later this evening, you know, so talk about things in that regard. So it's, we really didn't get a whole lot accomplished this past week, I didn't think, really, or last week, Thursday. But I'd still like to, I mean, formal submissions, send them in if there are things you'd like to see. But we can't make any changes without any, meeting from, we said it's budget committee, we can't really change it now, can we? Right?
The only option would be for the budget committee to reconsider, someone on the prevailing side of an approval could make a motion to reconsider some certain budget and have another hearing. But the whole point is the budget committee has a final product presented to full commission. And so the only people who can change it is full commission after you submit that final product. They can't consider it until it's the final product.
Isn't that at the planning meetings also?
Yeah, that's, yes, a couple weeks.
Next week.
Yeah, well, we sent that back for them to discuss because we didn't accept their second one.
Well, that third approval comes back before full commission. Mm-hmm. But I don't know what was published. I've got no idea.
The budget that we've been approved, including the most recent planning version.
But that hasn't been approved by budget at all yet. Right?
Planning hasn't done.
Right. So that item is finally considered before the full commission, but only that item.
Okay. So we're good there, yeah. All right, what do you guys think? Anything? Another workshop or just find it out on the commission floor next month? Of course, we will have a public hearing before that also. We'll start that at 5 o'clock. I think we've got that on the calendar. So,
July 9th.
yeah, I guess that was, it never got on the calendar or anything, so yeah, no meeting July 9th. Any other questions or discussion on that? Any other thing budget related? I got a few things just to add, a couple other committees. Keep Carter County Beautiful, they kind of helped along the drug, what do we call it? Drug prevention, Jillian Reese, I forget the name of the agency actually, but assisted on the grant, I think, and Ginger had a hand in this too, but they were awarded a cigarette litter prevention program grant, $10,000 coming to them. They get 300 pocket ashtrays, 300 portable auto ashtrays, just to eliminate cigarette butt litter that is very common and unsightly. So I appreciate the work on that, and certainly the drug prevention people for doing their work. Chamber of Commerce news. We do have a new director. I think I mentioned that at the last meeting. Joy McCray, she's been working really hard. I've seen some good changes so far. Michael, lots of new membership. They've collected some past dues on memberships. They are making it possible to have an e-membership where you can, they've got a pretty good website, working website now that you can go online to sign up for that e-membership. Because there are, I think one place was mentioned, the Stonefly Campground. The owners are from Charlotte or somewhere like that, but they wanted to be part of it. But couldn't, I mean, they can't be here for, monthly things or breakfast, things like that. So it is good. They are offering training classes. I know Zoom training was one of those. So if you've got questions or is interested in that, the website is good. You can go to their office. I think they are open some capacity. And also they posted today social media, the Region Ahead. I think that's through NetRep and all that. But some local businesses, new grant funding is available. So if you guys know anybody or anyone, or you can donate to that. Regionahead.com, I think, is the website to make that available. So if you know local businesses looking to maybe missed out last time because they did offer it before, it is available again for some more funding. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Mr. Brown, you have anything on agriculture?
That is Mr. Neal these days.
Building and grounds, Mr. James is Mr. Holmes.
We have one item of business to bring before you tonight, and that is to quit claim a piece of property that Attorney Hardin was approached about. So I'm going to ask if Attorney Hardin will speak to that right now and let you all know more about it.
Yeah, essentially what this is I think it's 15 feet by 100 feet. It's a small little sliver of property that is landlocked totally. It's in the Lynn Valley, between Mayfield Drive and Southgate Drive. But essentially it is a little center sliver between the backyards of two parcels. There's no street anywhere close. And the one owner, the Rotobacks, have treated it as theirs and maintained it for many years. The other adjoining owner has no claim to it whatsoever. There's some conflicting documents in the title search. One surveyor is of the opinion that it's already included in the Rotoback property. There's another opinion that the county owns it through a delinquent tax sale. But in any event, it's a tiny piece of property. It is not currently being taxed, and the only person who has any relevant claim is the Rotoback. So in my opinion, it's something that we can quick claim and get back on the tax roll.
So building and grounds, will put that in the form of a motion that we allow Attorney Hardin to press forward.
Second, Commissioner M. Hill. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll. Motion passes.
Thank you. And if you all have read over our minutes, I'll just stand here for a second and see if you all have questions on anything else we've been discussing in building and grounds. Okay, thank you.
Education Committee.
We did not meet in James, I believe if Dr. Ward is here, he might want to say something.
Not much to say, except for the fact that this has, as Mary alluded to earlier, this has been one heck of an end to a school year for us educators and parents and all alike. It's been very challenging. As we look forward, there's going to be a committee that's in the process right now. The committee's being established to look at next year and to see what type of schedule students start back. I think looking to get through this month and into the early part of July and developing a plan and looking and just see if there's recurring cases in Carter County. Right now, we're good. So but there'll be more information, more news coming in relation to that. Very challenging budget cycle. I think this year, what we knew would be a challenge year was even more so a challenge. And, as always, we're very appreciative of Brad and his people. There's not been one time, and there's been many times between March, April, and into May, as we went through our first estimate, looking for our second BEP estimate, called Brad, and he, of course, been busy, but he's always gotten back with me and has gotten with me personally to work together, and then has worked on his own to work to get some information for us as we work this budget. And a lot of challenges that lies ahead in next year's budget with revenue and other concerns that we have from the state level. The state, I think, is projecting somewhere in the neighborhood of about a $1 billion deficit. From the local level, I don't know exactly where we'll be at next year as we enter into our budget on next year. We'll probably at that point in time feel the full impact of the economic effect that this budget has had on us locally in our community. Right now, I guess, with this being my last meeting, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank each and every one of you. It's been my pleasure. Ever been my pleasure.
I'd like to give a round of applause. Service, not only as a teacher, administrator, and as our superintendent. You've been a true blessing to Carter County, and I think we really appreciate you.
Thank you very much. One of the proudest things I guess I can say is I was born in Carter County, raised in Carter County, and worked and retired in Carter County. Thank you. Forgot me. He's a good coach too. So.
Yeah.
And I'll wait. Sir, Mr. Ward, in all 8 years you presented a balanced budget to this commission, am I correct? 8 years that you've been here?
Our board has, yes.
That's phenomenal.
Financial management, Mr. Carter.
Madam Chairman, I'm asking we defer our bids because they were not finished on time to make it our package until next month, but there's one item that I think the finance director will need to address because we had just met with the state auditors last week in two forms. One was to go over the findings of this previous year. One part of that finding is still under investigation by the comptroller's office, which we cannot speak about because they have not reported out yet. The other would be that we gave, or the director there gave reasoning and how we're going to approach the 3 small findings that were found by them, and which they were acceptable to them. Director Burke, if you want to address anything for that, I have no further.
I just encourage you to go to the comptroller's website and pull up our audit report for 2019 and go through the whole report. I know the numbers are confusing. Go through the footnotes, go through the findings, the grant schedule. Any questions you have, please give me a call. Mr. Johnson, do you want to handle this sick leave issue tonight or take it for next month?
I think we need to take that amount through the next financial management for them to vote on that.
Nothing further for financial management.
Yes.
Health and welfare. Highway.
Brother Crawford got something to say. No,
Landfill, Commissioner Bowles. Law enforcement. Nominating.
Okay, nominating met Monday night. The only business was to fill a 6th district seat on the planning commission. There was 3 applicants, Ms. Pate, Ms. Treadway, and Mr. Arney. Ms. Pate received 5 votes, Ms. Treadway received 2, Mr. Arney received 1. Therefore, I'd like to form a motion to accept Amy Pate as the new 6th district planning commission.
Second, Commissioner Brown.
What was the date on the applications for those?
The date?
What was the deadline?
The deadline, just a week prior to the nominating meeting.
Well, I had on Miss Page so that she just turned it in on that afternoon.
I also received Mr. Arney's that afternoon also.
Okay, I didn't see
An
it.
email.
So we only have one that was in on time?
Correct.
Thank you.
Can you accept the motion before we would end on time?
Correct. We have a second by Commissioner Brown. Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll. Motion passes.
I think Ms. Pate is here. She wants to speak.
Ms. Pate, would you like to come up? And introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Amy Pate. Thank you so much for taking time to listen to me tonight. Introduce myself is I 1158 Highway 321 in Hampton, Tennessee is where I live. Resided there for 12 years. Been a resident of Carter County for 28 years. In the Hampton district, I've been there 12 years. Moved to the city and then moved down back. So lived in Hampton about 22 years. So I'm a financial advisor for Edward Jones. I work from my home. I don't have an office here in town. I work with clients that are all over the United States. Just servicing them, helping them with their financial needs, retirement, whatever they need from me. Thank you so much, commissioners that voted for me tonight. I'm very excited to be a part of this. I have 4 children that I've raised. One is currently, he's employed at high school. He's a janitor. He's pretty much, all of our children are pride and joys, but we really take a lot of pride in their son. I have 3 daughters. They all went to Elizabeth and they graduated. They don't live here in our community. They all decided that they could find better opportunities outside of Carter County. And as a parent, that is upsetting. You don't want to see your children move away. You know, you want to see them here. So I want to help our county grow. I want to be a positive influence. I want to be a positive influence on the board. And I ask a lot of questions. So if I ask questions, just overlook me, because that's part of my job, is asking questions, getting to know the ins and outs of what I'm dealing with. I don't make rash decisions. I like to understand what I'm going to be making a decision on. And again, if anyone has questions for me, please feel free to ask. Guess that's it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Anything for rules of bylaws, Mr. Jenkins?
Minutes are late.
Okay. Agriculture? Agriculture, anything?
We went over it last month, but the minutes from that is in here.
Okay. Animal shelter? Animal shelter board?
I wasn't in attendance, so you had the minister to pass it was on this and I think.
Beer board? Commissioner Hill? Beer board?
We're meeting on Thursday for 2 permit applications. 6 p.m. Mayor's conference room.
See, we've got the Board of Health, from there. Industrial Development Board. Park and Rec. Planning Commission.
Meet Tuesday.
Tuesday. And nothing for the Records Commission. Bill Mayfield and Commissioner Collins. And we'll move on to the County Attorney Report.
Short and sweet, litigation-wise, finally there was a potential settlement in a class action suit the county's been in for several years over takings by federal takings of railways. And we're scheduled to receive around $50,000. And that final process is taking place right now. We submitted the paperwork or the information today. So the federal government's paying out, so I wouldn't expect it too fast. But we will be getting some money there. Otherwise, as always, I do anything you all ask me to do that's legal. And I'm happy to help any way I can, and I'll submit my written report that'll be with the minutes.
Commissioner comments.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion to adjourn, second. Oh, sorry. Commissioner McCamey would like to speak.
I just want to say, in regards to the animal shelter, that I appreciate that everybody came out to support animals tonight. And that we need to think about, for the last 4 years, I have been in here begging and pleading for us to enforce laws. If we had enforced the spay and neuter law 4 years ago when I first got up for this commission and started asking for help, we wouldn't need to be increasing the budget right now because we would have a decrease in population. So when I hear that another commissioner says the way we can solve this problem is to pull out the bullets, I'm very offended. I don't see you out here at night when I'm out here with a zero budget, chasing animals nightly, and scooping 8 litter boxes when I leave here tonight. If you want to come and scoop with me, then I feel like you have the right to say that. Otherwise, I don't think you have that right. I have asked for laws. If we enforced spay and neuter, we're laughed at from the northern states. People here in Tennessee are sending animals up north because they have spay and neuter laws. They don't have strays around there. And I think you need to keep that in consideration before you spout out. What are you doing once again, I've said it for 4 years, what are you doing to help? I need it.
Any other commissioner comments?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Meeting adjourned.